What's up, my brothers and my sisters from another mister? So today we're going to do a comic book review of Haunt, issue number 7. This is where Daniel Kilgore, we're going to discover if he's really ready for the dangerous world of espionage. It's a new story arc brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. We begin this issue with Daniel going to apartment number 13 in this grimy, slimy apartment building. He knocks on the door, and this girl named Charity, who we know from issue number 1, that was Daniel's prostitute, his client, or maybe her client. She's excited to see him, and he's like, well, I just want to see you because it's been a while since our last, I don't know what you call it, but time has passed, and I feel like our sessions are more than just sessions. I feel like we connected in some kind of way, so he's asking her out. And his brother Kurt is like, man, this is a bad idea. And she's like, wow, oh my gosh, look. So Charity's like, oh my gosh, wow, look, I'm not saying that it was all business between us because it wasn't, but you have to understand something about me. I don't know how to best put it, but I'm not really available. So Daniel felt like a jackass. Is like, okay, I understand. So her pimp comes outside and tells her to get inside, Charity, and pardon me for listening, and pow, pay for some time or leave. Those are your only two options. And Daniel's like, look, if I could just, no, get inside. So he smacks her, and he ain't having none of it. Last chance, asshole. Take a walk or pay up. In this newfound, if you watch the first story arc, Daniel has some newfound confidence now. He works for the agency, and he has his brother by his side. Charity, do you really want me to leave? She looks for a second, and she whispers the word no. Daniel takes charge like a brother out of hell. He's like, man, I don't respond well to threats. It's a new thing for me. So he goes inside, exercises his authority, exerts his dominance, and turns out there's a few more dominant brothers in there waiting to exercise their dominance too. And they're like, is this guy for real? Man, let's smoke this fool, says the brother who's smoking. Man, and Daniel's like, I should have thought this through. So they take out their guns and they blaze away. Lights go out, Haunt takes over, massacre ensues, and Haunt does some damage. And while he's in Haunt form, Daniel's brother Kurt's like, reckless, this is very reckless. And Daniel's like, well, at least you didn't hesitate to save me. Well, they were going to kill you. What did you want me to do? Well, I don't know, man, but we gotta put on the show now. So after Daniel takes care of business as Haunt with his brother Kurt, Charity looks at him like, oh my gosh, this is way too much, as she sees all the blood and all the massacre that he did. So she hugs him as a form of relief, but then again, at the same time, this is too much to deal with, so she leaves. And we gotta get one more, sexiness right here. This is Red Velvet Bloody Massacre without the cupcake holder right here. Just look at it. I know you hungry. I'm hungry too. It's breakfast time and I haven't ate breakfast yet and I want some coffee. But jokes aside, he walks down what you so called the walk of shame and he leaves. So meanwhile on this panel right here, Mr. Herg and former director Rhodes are having dinner. So he goes on to explain that a salad for him is like shaving weeks off his life, and that's what Steady said. And for her, it's like in our line of work, we could be taken on any given moment. So I'm not going to take up a chance to have a good steak dinner in the hopes that I'm going to stay alive until I'm old or gray. So we have two conflicting ideas. So Mr. Herg tells her, well, look, I'm aware that you were not pleased with the way in which you were pulled out of HQ and your cover was blown in the agency. If you watch the last issue, she was the mole and she was exposed in issue number 5. And the data retrieved from this notebook will benefit this organization for years to come. So also the death of Director Stance, which you did, former assistant Rose did take him out in issue number 5 and Haunt in issue number 5. Mr. Herg tells her, your old colleague Beth Tosh has taken over the agency now as a new director and her transition has not been easy. So she asks him, how do you know all this? Do you have another mole on the inside that you're not telling me about? And he smirks like, now that would be interesting, wouldn't it? I wonder if he really does and we just don't know, just to let you know the lengths and the pull that this guy has. So the phone rings, the waiter brings him the phone, and Mr. Herg's like, this better be good. And the doctor tells him, oh, it is good. I've completed reviewing Schillinger's notes. It appears all the reports of his memory are horrible, but you know what? They are completely and utterly true. He wrote everything down, and I mean everything, in detail, as if he was writing it for someone. I don't want to keep you, but I just want to say that with this data, I will have no problem recreating his experience, and we will be able to get this program up and running quickly. Excellent, says Mr. Herg. So in his form of wanting to prolong his life because he feels he has a newfound life, he orders a bowl of strawberries. So in this panel right here, Kurt and Daniel are having a conversation outside, and Kurt gives his brother stuff like, you know, she was a prostitute. What'd you expect for her to do? Just for her to grab her things and walk away or run away with you because you professed her love to her? And Daniel's like, you don't know a thing about women. Oh, says Kurt, says the man who knows a thing or two about women. Let me correct myself. You don't know a thing or two about committing to one woman. Fine, says Kurt. I'll take that hit. So after they conversate, Kurt talks to Daniel like, I just don't get it. Like, why did you even become a priest anyway? This isn't your kind of life. And Kurt explains why he did become a priest. And he explains when everything went down with Amanda, because I was Kurt's wife, he was in love with Amanda. So when everything went down, he was devastated. It was like his life was churned back to zero, and he didn't know who he was without Amanda. So when we were kids, Mom used to drag us to church, and I remember always the priest preaching or the other ones doing the sermon. They always seemed so content and so utterly at peace, and I wanted some of that. So when I was lost, I thought maybe I should be like one of them. And when he became one of the priests, he devoted himself 100% to become into the priesthood. But he almost immediately realized that was a mistake. It was not for him. The thing is, he didn't have anything else to do or anywhere else to go, so he faked it. And Kurt's like, okay, I feel you, bro. So his phone rings. Amanda, Kurt's wife, or widow I should say, calls him and says, look, I got all this cash, come over here. Keep in mind, issue number 6, where we get that from. Kurt and Mirage want to sell the notebook so they could run off with one another, but they want to make sure that they leave Amanda with some kind of severance pay or good riddance or something like that. So he comes over and Amanda's like, I just don't know where all this cash came from. So Kurt, in dead form, tells his brother Daniel, just tell her everything. Start with this, because she'll believe you. There's no other way. You have to tell her to push the button on the other side of the bottom shelf in the pantry. She needs to understand at least a little bit what's going on. So Daniel puts his hand on Amanda's shoulder and tells her, push the button. What button? There is no button on the underside of the bottom shelf. So she gets down, and now we and Daniel and Kurt get a little bit of that cake, but she goes to the underside of the cabinet, or the pantry I should say. She pushes the button, it opens up, and she's like, oh no, you gotta start explaining this to me. This is way too much, as he has an entire infirmary in there. So Daniel tells her, look, the thing is, Kurt wasn't a data analyst for the CIA. He was an agent for a secret organization within the government. He was a field agent, you know? So he used to see me and confess to me about this all the time. And he was killed on a mission. I'm sorry, I really want to tell you, but there are rules to this thing, and it's important that you not let on that you know any of this. So Amanda was like, this is heavy for her. So Daniel tells her the money must be some kind of insurance thing, some kind of back channel money thing, something that can't be traced, and that money is yours. So Amanda's like, I'm sorry, this is really a lot to deal with. And Daniel's like, I know, I really am sorry about it. So this isn't something he wanted to keep from me. It's just that this is for your own safety, so it had to be done. So Amanda kind of puts her head down, tries to come to terms with all this, and Kurt feels guilty about it, and she tells Daniel, I'm gonna need some time on this. So Kurt feeling guilty when they walk away from all this, Daniel tells Kurt, you need to hear this. You're not to blame for all this, not all of it. You have to know that you can't beat yourself up over it. Amanda will be fine. She'll get through it. She's strong, and you know that she just needs time. So as they go on and Daniel consults or comforts his brother Kurt, they meet up with Beth on time at this building, and this guy's just looking at him. So Beth tells him that this is Edward Williams. He's your trainer. He'll be operating out of this building for the time being. And Daniel's like, yo, I'm gonna get trained to become a secret agent, but this is so cool, man. So where do we start? Guns, knives, kung fu? What's in store for Tay? Wata! So Edward's like, today is gonna be very exciting. Our weapon today will be this pencil. Wata! So Kurt is he's just having a ball with this guns, knives, kung fu. Really? Nah, bro, you gotta read The Art of War and all these psychological books before you get into this whole thing. So in this panel right here, they do all this research on, Dr. Schiller's notebook, and all things are going extremely well. With the cell regeneration is remarkable. And the scientist tells Mr. Herg that some of the tests have been more productive than others. And we've been able to accomplish this in a matter of days. We'll be able to move into human testing in a month or less. Our progress has been astounding, and I hope you're pleased. And Mr. Herg is like, I am. So continue the good work. And I am told that Cobra liked to speak to me, so please take me to him. Well, sure, so the doctors do that. He's getting bandages removed tonight, and we did the best we could, sir. And I know it's important for you to know that he was able to blend in, but there wasn't a lot to work with given what happened in the previous issue. And what happened in the previous issues, I think it was issue 4 or 5, where Cobra got his head kind of sliced by Haunt. And anyways, they remove all the bandages, and Cobra's like, what? How bad is it? And he looks like a humanized version of Killer Croc, and he looks like, well, it ain't so good either, bro. But that is the end of this issue of Haunt, issue number 7. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also link in description if you wish to add this comic book or any of our other comic books or some of our other Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. And if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Like this video and subscribe to Rated Comics YouTube channel. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.